Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, welcome to another episode of freaking Our Week in Review on WAOL LP freaking Rochester, worst radio station in the history of freaking Rochester, freaking New York, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, freaking Google Play, and also freaking SoundCloud. We've got a great show planned for you this week. We'll be talking about freaking Chris Pratt's freaking wedding, Bradley Cooper's breakup, a freaking Toy Story celebration of freaking love, hot wings, Impossible burgers, and much freaking more. I'm your freaking host, Taylor the freaking Sandman freaking Lofton. With me as always, to my left is freaking Doug Jordan, and coming all the way from freaking Seattle, freaking New York, Seattle, Washington, we got Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas and Taddea freaking Richards. Freaking gentlemen, start your freaking engines. This is Our Week in Freaking Review. Weakers, tweakers, thrill freaking seekers, we have a freaking great show for you. It has been 1 week since we last spoke, and we have missed you very freaking much. And I say with the bottom to the bottom of my freaking heart, geez Louise, down on my knees, we're so glad to have you freaking back. Doug Jordan, why don't we go ahead and start with you? A little round table panel. How you doing? How you been? How was freaking last week? And how freaking are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on the show as always. I'll get right into it. So last week was the Rochester Shrimp Cocktail Revival. Unfortunately, what ended up happening from that is that we ran out of shrimp pretty quickly because of all of the restaurants having shrimp cocktails on their freaking menu. It could have been avoided, but unfortunately it couldn't have been avoided, and now we ran out of shrimp.
You ran out of shrimp?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't run out of shrimp. I'm just a freaking spokesperson, and so the people that were running it, the higher ups, they ran out of freaking shrimp.
So you promised 5 days of shrimp. How much shrimp did you have?
I'm just the freaking spokesperson. I don't know the freaking logistics of all of it, but I know that they ran out of shrimp on the 5th day. So
okay, let me get this straight. You freaking planned and orchestrated a freaking shrimp cocktail freaking revival in Rochester. Basically came up with the whole freaking idea one night while you were trying to freaking get to sleep. I imagine playing with yourself. You said, look down between your freaking legs. You say, this looks like a freaking shrimp, and there should be more of these out in the open, out for everyone to freaking see, everyone to freaking touch, play with, massage, caress, freaking have explode in their trousers. And you said, I have a great freaking idea. I'm going to have a freaking shrimp cocktail revival. Bring this freaking thing back to the city of freaking Rochester. It's former freaking glory. And then you didn't order enough freaking shrimp?
Yeah, no, so again, I just want to let you know that I had nothing to do with the orchestrating of the event. I was just asked to come on as a freaking spokesperson and to talk about the event on this radio show and my other radio show, freaking Doug Knows Best.
Well, anyway, first of all, you never had any freaking permission to talk about it on this radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you started asking me about it, so I'm assuming that the station brass freaking talked to you about it.
Either you get freaking permission from freaking myself or freaking Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas, and if you don't, you can't freaking say a word freaking about it. So that's strike freaking one, and you're on thin freaking ice, mister.
Well, I mean, you're the one that started asking me questions about it, so I think did the station brass reach out to you about it?
Doug, you're on thin freaking ice. The station brass did not freaking talk to me. Other than that, why don't we just move forward? How did the rest of the freaking cocktail revival freaking go? Shrimp cocktail, freaking cocktail revival go.
Well, yeah. So because they ran out of shrimp pretty quickly on the 5th day, people started just drinking the cocktail sauce, and then they ended up freaking running out of that too.
People were drinking the freaking cocktail sauce.
Yeah, everybody was hungry, and they were supposed to have shrimp, and they just had cocktail sauce left over, so people just started freaking drinking that.
There wasn't anything else on any of the freaking menus. What you're telling all these freaking restaurants in the freaking area for entire freaking 5-day freaking week dropped their entire freaking menus and strictly just freaking served freaking shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
And not only like that, but they also freaking ran out of freaking shrimp, and then people started drinking the cocktail sauce, and they ran out of freaking cocktail sauce.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And Doug Jordan freaking planned all of it, and he never freaking talked about it to me.
Well, that's just, it goes to show you don't freaking hand the freaking reins of a freaking event like that to somebody like freaking Doug Jordan, because he's gonna screw it. He's gonna screw the freaking hell up.
Yeah.
I could have told you that. I could have freaking told everyone freaking that.
Yeah, but I wasn't in charge of it. I was just a spokesperson.
So
you know, honestly, Doug, it's on me. I should have freaking gotten on the horn with the freaking people of freaking Rochester, New York, and told them, don't freaking do this. Do not. These freaking hands are not freaking capable of just about anything other than freaking fingering his freaking boyfriend, Sunjay.
Yeah, and if there's only one thing freaking Doug knows actually best about, and it's freaking potato freaking chips, and it's freaking having sex and making love to a sweet little boy named freaking Sunjay, who's actually a full-grown freaking man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, Sunjay is, again...
Just looks like a little freaking boy.
I just want to tell people he's just a friend of mine and also the co-host of my show, Doug Knows Best. So...
Yeah. Well, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, I'm sure you're so interested in hearing about freaking Doug Jordan. That's freaking sarcasm for Weakers and Tweakers out there who can't see my freaking face. But geez Louise, down on my knees. Doug, what is gonna happen next year with this failed experiment that you came up with?
Well, I think in order to curb the fact that they ran out of shrimp in a week, I think they're gonna pitch it as an all year long festival. So there's just gonna be shrimp cocktails on everybody's menus, so everybody can have freaking shrimp.
So basically just go back to being freaking normal. It's normal to eat freaking shrimp cocktail if that's what you feel like having.
Well, yeah, I mean, it did so well that people just want shrimp cocktail on every menu no matter what.
Right.
So I guess at the end of the day, the festival was a success, and it revived shrimp cocktails.
And
it was such a freaking success that they will never freaking do it again. Yep. That's the freaking Doug Jordan guarantee.
Yeah. Well, good for you, and how do you freaking do? Taddea freaking Risher, how was your week? How you doing? For Weakers and Tweakers out there who don't remember, Taddea Risher has freaking terminally ill freaking cancer. It is currently growing inside of him. You can't see it on the outside, but doctors say he doesn't have much time to live, and he also has a housing update for us. Taddea, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, thank you so much, and I apologize. Last week, my cancer flared up, and I had to duck out of the broadcast. I am okay now, although it's a guarantee that my cancer is growing at such an exponential rate. I should probably be dead by the end of this week. But thank you so much for asking. And yeah, I do have a housing update. As I mentioned last week, I was under an overpass. I've since upgraded, kind of like the Jeffersons, if you will. And I've moved into a shelter, and it's for transients and homeless people, and it's been great so far. It's a lot like the sex dungeon, except the bathrooms are a lot more private, and it's all dudes. So, you know, it's been fun, and I can't wait to die.
Now, we speculated last week that you were living at the freaking YMCA. Is that what you're freaking talking about here?
Yeah.
We also speculated that there is most likely a good chance that there is equal to or more sex going on in the freaking all men's YMCA than there was going on at the freaking sex dungeon. Is that true as well?
Well, let me tell you something. It's scary how much more sex goes on at the men's YMCA. It's baffling, honestly. You would think that in a building specifically made for sex, there would be more sex than a Young Men Christians Association, but that's what's going on.
Gotcha. Well, Taddea, I just want you to know I'm so freaking proud of you, and everything that you do, like a freaking pinch hitter, you step up to the freaking step up to the freaking goal, and you put that thing in the freaking hoop. And I freaking love you, and I'm so freaking proud of you.
Thank you so much. Happy to be back. Doug Jordan, you owe me some money.
Yeah.
I definitely don't owe you anything at all. And I'm going to say I'm happy for you that you're not spending all this money in the sex dungeon anymore, and you can just have sex freely at the YMCA if that's supposed to cure your illness.
Doug, you owe me a little bit of freaking money too.
Yeah, the thing is,
we're on the freaking subject.
Well, excuse me. I was gonna say, I don't know anybody here any freaking money, so I just want to make that clear.
No, you don't know anybody any money except freaking Sandy and freaking Taddea, which you owe quite a great deal of money to, actually.
No, I definitely.
And you know what? I was gonna let it slide, Doug. I was gonna let it slide because I figured you were putting the money into the shrimp cocktail revival, and then I find out that you don't have enough shrimp to feed people for a week. So clearly the money wasn't going there, and now I have many more questions.
Yeah, so I'm not in charge of that. I was just the spokesperson for that. And if you want to get into logistics here, I mean, Sandy owes owes me quite a bit of freaking money from all those times I bailed him out in freaking Mexico. So, you know, I'd like to get some money back. It seems like you got a new job, Sandy, that you're making a bunch of money at, so maybe you could start sending some checks my way.
Wait, but Doug, you're confused. You're the one that freaking owes me freaking money.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think that you're confused. I think that you are the one that owes me freaking money.
Well, Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas, all the way from freaking Seattleite freaking New York, Seattle, Washington. How you doing, and what is going on with you? Last we spoke, you were dating a freaking tiny little freaking ugly and that was going quite well, except you had a freaking roommate that was a former alcoholic, and he was not enjoying your company. Can you update us on some of those happenings about?
Still haven't freaking gotten freaking my freaking roommate to crack open a freaking cold one with me. Keep freaking trying. Not for lack of freaking trying. Still, and I'll tell you what. All is not well on the freaking on the romantic freaking front. Things were never great to freaking begin with, but they've taken a freaking dip for the freaking worst.
Is it because you're embarrassed to be seen with her because she's? I'm
gonna freaking stop you right there. Yeah, of course I'm freaking embarrassed to be seen with her. But that is not the freaking issue. The issue at freaking hand. I gotta tell you, 2 nights back, you wouldn't freaking believe this. She freaking tried to freaking end things with me. She doesn't like the fact that I freaking drink either. She always says no drink. You know, and I go yes, drink. Or you know, I pick up the bottle and I say this is brown. This is a bottle of freaking brown. This is my freaking best friend. And I tell you, and as soon as I heard her trying to freaking end things with me, I said, I am not about to be freaking dumped by a freaking shit. That is not about to freaking happen. So I freaking got on my knees. I freaking begged her. I said, "You got please please. I'll stop freaking drinking. I'll clean up my freaking act. It's all freaking lie." But anyway, she freaking took me back. Now I'm gonna freaking break up with her.
You should tell her you have cancer.
Who is that? What is this?
That is freaking Taddea freaking Risher. You have actually met him in person numerous amount of times. Also, he has been on the show for going on the better part of a freaking year now. So he was an intern. Now he's a co-host of the freaking show.
Well, that is neither freaking here nor there, because it was my freaking turn to freaking spill the beans. So I'm thinking about I'm gonna try and squeeze in a couple more sessions of freaking lovemaking, and then freaking let her down freaking nice and freaking easy, and send her on her freaking way. Pack her freaking bags, and basically freaking send her on her freaking way.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like to me that you actually really like this woman, and you're afraid that she's gonna leave you, and you're gonna be all alone again.
Doug, that's the most freaking ridiculous thing I ever freaking heard.
I mean,
this is quite a reach.
I mean,
Doug, I've been freaking alone for basically my entire freaking life.
Doug, this isn't a freaking Sanjay and freaking Doug Jordan freaking relationship. A match made in heaven, a freaking love at first sight, sharing a freaking piece of spaghetti in Italy, freaking Lady in the freaking Tramp style freaking sexual relationship where you both constantly have sex with each other and are making love on the airplane in the freaking bathroom and next to the lady in freaking white gloves type freaking relationship.
Yeah, so none of that happened, and it never has happened, and I will continue to deny that no matter what. I don't know how to make you guys see or understand that we're just friends and co-hosts. But I mean, to me, Sandy, it sounds like you really like this woman, and you're afraid that she's gonna freaking leave you.
This let's call her what she is. Right?
Yeah. Let's call it freaking spade.
And I'm gonna go ahead and also I'm also gonna go ahead and freaking stop you right freaking there. Doug, there's only I'm not Doug. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and stop you right there and go ahead and say, Doug, the only freaking thing that you're freaking co-hosting with Sanjay is his freaking rear end. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers. We got a great freaking show. We got an R Week hotline coming up. We also have great news and discussins. But before we move on, I want to talk to you guys about my freaking week. First of all, weakers and tweakers who have been following the freaking saga of my freaking cat that has a freaking Hitler mustache know that my freaking cat, Donovan 2, was basically captured when I brought him into the freaking vet after he developed a freaking skin rash from the constant shavings I was doing, and I vowed to get him freaking back because he has a freaking Hitler mustache and it's freaking hilarious. And Weakers, Tweakers, I am up for any freaking challenge, especially since getting my new freaking outfit, which is an old military freaking officer's freaking outfit. I have felt stealth. I have felt sneaky. I feel like the guys that went and killed freaking Osama bin Laden now, and I decided I would go in, sneak into the freaking veterinarian's freaking office, and steal a freaking cat bag. And that's almost what I freaking did.
Do you want me to ask you, so what happened?
Doug, please. I'm telling a freaking story here. So what happened was I went in, I threw a freaking brick through the freaking window, and the alarms freaking go off. So I know at that point, the police have a freaking 7-minute freaking response time. And so I hoist myself into the freaking window, and guess what freaking happens? I get freaking stuck. Freaking window's only so freaking big because normally they just got freaking cats and dogs trying to freaking break out of there, and it's not made to have a freaking full-size human being with a freaking large freaking belly freaking shimmying through the freaking window. It's made for freaking cats and dogs for freaking doing that. So I get freaking stuck. My freaking legs are freaking dangling out there. My freaking stomach's getting all cut up by the freaking broken freaking glass. There's freaking blood everywhere. My freaking officer's uniform is getting all freaking cut up on the freaking waistband. Luckily, just before anything freaking else happens, I freaking squeeze right in, and I slumber into the freaking middle of the freaking veterinarian's office.
Did you get the freaking? Did you get freaking Hitler freaking cat back? Or
No.
They put it freaking down, didn't they?
Either they freaking put it down or they freaking moved it on elsewhere. But what I did do in freaking retaliation was let out every freaking animal that they had.
Sure.
And I opened the freaking doors, and I freaking ran for my freaking lives, and they even had a freaking snake, and I let it freaking out. They had a freaking snake, they had freaking rabbits, and freaking dogs, and freaking cats, and I let them all freaking out, and I got freaking bit by a dog, too. A big freaking dog. It was a freaking, it was like a freaking, it might have been a freaking dog the size of a freaking Maine Coon cat. It was so freaking big. Bit me right in my freaking leg.
Are you okay?
No. I gotta get freaking Donovan back. I gotta get my freaking Hitler mustache cash. For Weakers and Tweakers out there, when you love something, some people say let it go. I say hold it freaking tight. Because when you love something like a freaking cat or a dog or a frog or a python or any number of the animals that I let out the other freaking day, the last thing that you want to do is let somebody take them away from you. And I would never, ever freaking do that to anybody else.
I mean, but it wasn't a cat, a stray cat that you just picked up, and it was a missing cat because you kept finding freaking posters everywhere with his face on it, and he said, no, this is my cat from another universe or something like that, and we kept saying, no, it's probably somebody's freaking cat. You should probably give that back.
I have explained this freaking stories. Weakers and Tweakers know this story, probably by the back of their, like the back of their freaking hand by now. Yes, what happened was my freaking cat, freaking Donovan, ran away, at which point I started searching for him, and I started freaking scouring the freaking neighborhood, and by the time I freaking found him, like freaking Gandalf the freaking Great and Terrible, he had turned from gray, basically from freaking Maine Coon, completely white. He had lost a ton of weight from the freaking stress. His hair had gotten significantly freaking shorter, and he basically didn't look at all like the same freaking cat I used to have. I brought him back, and I instantly knew that he was freaking Donovan when I opened a freaking can of wet freaking cat food, and he freaking started eating just the same way freaking Donovan would. And then the strangest thing freaking ever in the history of the freaking world happened. My freaking Donovan from futures past returned, and yep, you freaking guessed it. Yeah, freaking portal into the freaking universe opened up. I got 2 freaking Donovans now. And now I'm back to 1 because freaking Donovan 2, the one that freaking turned white, Donovan the White, has been taken away from me because I cut his fur off so I can make a Hitler mustache.
Yeah, so I mean, you definitely took somebody else's cat away from them. So I guess I don't know.
Not to mention all the freaking pets I just let out this freaking weekend.
A question I had was: is it possible because his hair might have grown back and maybe he was there and he just didn't recognize him because he didn't have a Hitler mustache anymore?
No, the cat I was looking for has a freaking Hitler mustache, Doug. So I would know which one. I also freaking dyed it a Hitler mustache, so I would be able to.
I have a freaking question.
Yeah.
Did any of the animals that you freaking set free from the freaking vet look like they didn't want to freaking leave? Looked like they were freaking scared when you opened up the freaking cages and I didn't want it. And what did you do? Did you?
Well, some of them, like I said, for Weakers and Tweakers out there, it was. Let me paint a little picture. It was dark as night. It was the middle of the freaking night. The alarms were going off. I was freaking terrified. I was bloody. I'm wearing a freaking officer's uniform. There's a broken window. Jeez Louise, down on my knees. It was freaking raining out. I opened the freaking doors. I opened all the cages up. The animals were all freaking asleep. The snake freaking must have been either freaking barracuda or python. I can't freaking tell the difference between those two types of snakes. That thing did not want to freaking wake up, and it was heavy as the freaking dickens. I had to pick it up and put it on my shoulders, carry that freaking thing out. The rabbits, geez Louise, down on my knees, they become about a quarter of the size when they're freaking sleeping. They're all huddled up into a corner around each other. Had to let those things freaking go. You had to get basically start a fire under these things to get them freaking moving at all, which I didn't.
The way that I'm imagining this is I'm imagining you forcibly picking up animals and freaking throwing them out of a door, and basically just throwing them into the freaking wild. Is that? Am I?
Yeah, except it's in the middle of the freaking city. It's a freaking veterinarian office in the city.
Right.
Yeah. So. Either way, all's well that ends well. I will find my freaking cat, and I have put an ad on freaking Craigslist for a cat with a Hitler mustache, and I'm sure I will freaking find it soon enough. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we got a great freaking show for you. We need to get on to our week's hotline because we got a freaking call. Very interesting one. I'm sure you will all be very interested to freaking hear it. So without further freaking ado, here it goes.
Who I am is not important. My voice is being distorted for my protection. I'm calling to expose a lie, an injustice of the highest caliber. I'm calling to expose one of your hosts for the fucking fraud that they are.
Okay, so we got a freaking caller exposing one of the hosts of these freaking show, one of the four of us for freaking lying. I can't imagine it would be freaking me because I have never freaking, I tell all the freaking truth all the freaking time.
Well, you do walk around in an army uniform that you didn't deserve.
What do you think?
You didn't. I mean, you're walking around like a soldier, but you're not a soldier, and you're kind of reaping the benefits of that.
What the heck are you freaking talking about? I found that freaking armed officer's uniform freaking fair and squarely. And I wear it, and it fits nice and perfect. Must have been a big fella because, geez Louise, down on my knees, fits me like a freaking glove.
Right, but the point is that you weren't a soldier, and that in itself is kind of a lie.
I think Taddea is right, and you didn't do any service to be thanked for. So I mean, you're stealing somebody else's freaking service, and you're making it your own, but it's not your freaking service.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious. All right, let's continue on. Let's keep listening.
In the latest episode, Doug Jordan said on multiple occasions that he visited a Pizza Hut in Italy, but a simple goddamn Google search proves him to be a goddamn liar.
Doug, did you or did you not?
I freaking knew this was going to be about freaking Doug. Not for 1 second did I think this had anything to do with you freaking stealing a freaking officer's uniform and impersonating a freaking officer and reaping the benefits. This smelled of freaking Doug from the freaking right out the freaking gate.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sandy, for that freaking vote of confidence. Doug, did you actually even go to freaking Italy?
Yeah, I went to freaking Italy, and I went to a Pizza Hut when I was traveling. I didn't say that the freaking Pizza Hut was in Italy. I said I went to a freaking Pizza Hut when I was traveling. So for the panel out there, they know this because we talked about this while you were freaking gone. I had this theory that maybe you never went to freaking Italy at all, and that maybe Sanjay and yourself took off to freaking Fire Island, which is basically the gay sex capital of the freaking world. It's right off of freaking Manhattan Island. Very chic, expensive
freaking island where basically anything goes, freaking sex parlor, as long as it's freaking gay, freaking sexy gay, as long as it's freaking gay.
Yeah, no, I didn't go there. I went to Italy, like I said.
Yeah.
Why lie, Doug? How can we believe anything you say now? Do you, in fact, have herpes? Are you, in fact, f***ing Sanjay? Does your wife, in fact, have sex with Taylor? Does your son, Doug Jr., hate you? And do you save your urine in bottles in your garage?
What, do you want me to actually answer these questions?
Yeah, let's go through one at a time. Do you in fact have herpes? Sandy, go ahead.
That's a huge yes on my part and on freaking Doug's as well. The two of us both are freaking have freaking herpes. We did not get it from freaking each other. We did not get it from freaking each other. We both have it. We both got it pretty freaking bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but no, I don't have herpes. You actually have herpes, but you both always said that I had freaking herpes, but I don't have freaking herpes. So
we both have herpes. That's correct.
If anything, I mean, well, just keep going. But it just seems like you guys are the liars here, and he should be freaking accusing you of being liars instead of me because you're lying about me.
For Taddea, why don't you go ahead and answer this one? Is Doug in fact f***ing Sanjay?
I mean, yeah, obviously. What else would they be doing?
Yeah.
I mean, they meet up all the time. They took a supposed trip to Italy, although that's in question. But you don't spend that much time with someone and don't f*** them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a freaking radio show together. I mean, these guys are freaking doing it.
Yeah, there's
okay. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Let me stop you right there. No.
Two guys in a freaking. Hold on, excuse me, Doug. Don't ever freaking interrupt me. You got two guys in a freaking radio station together at once a freaking week, and you're telling me those guys aren't freaking doing it?
Okay, first of all, let me just say, no, I'm not having sex with Sanjay. He's just a friend and the co-host of my show. But if you're saying that, what I don't understand here is you accuse me of having sex with this guy. Yet, honestly, longer than, I've been doing my show with him, you and freaking Taylor have been doing your show. So, I'm starting to question maybe you guys have been freaking having sex this whole time and you're pawning it off on me to make me look like I'm a freaking asshole. But you guys are the freaking assholes because you have freaking sex with each other.
Doug.
Doug.
What are you doing? This, for Weakers and Tweakers out there, this is a classic freaking derailing. Doug is basically at his wits end with freaking excuses. He has his back is against the wall. He's facing a freaking firing line, and yeah, you freaking guessed it. He's pulling out all the freaking stops. Obviously, Sandy and I are freaking great best friends, and we started a radio show because of our freaking love for freaking radio and freaking chit chat. And geez Louise, down my freaking knees. It's never been in freaking question whether we freaking had sex with each other or not.
So then why is it in question if I had freaking sex with Sanjay or not?
Because, Doug, I just fact-checked to make sure that this call was relevant. There is, in fact, no Pizza Hut in Italy, and now everything about you is in question.
Yeah, but I didn't say I had Pizza Hut in Italy. I said I had Pizza Hut while I was freaking traveling.
Check the tape, Doug.
I had a friggin' layover in friggin' Lisbon, and that's where I had the friggin' Pizza Hut.
Yeah, we definitely need to get somebody to check that freaking tape.
Yeah, we need to check the freaking tape.
Doug, did you not go to one Italian bistro while you were in Italy?
Well, I just said there was a Pizza Hut, so we went to a Pizza Hut. We had the pizza there.
There's never been a Pizza Hut in Italy. Is that true, Taddea?
That is true, as this caller suggests.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next freaking question. Sandy, does your wife, in fact, have sex with freaking Taylor?
This I freaking took quite a bit of freaking issue with.
Yeah.
Because Doug's wife is a freaking beautiful freaking woman.
Yeah, she is.
Freaking charming as the freaking Dickens. Excuse me, don't freaking interrupt me. She's freaking charming as the freaking Dickens. Freaking busty. Freaking perfect freaking nipple to boob ratio.
Yeah. She got the beautiful brown freaking nipples, I hear.
Oh, what did I freaking just say? Please don't freaking interrupt me. And as all Uyghurs and Tweakers know, I'm the one who freaking probably freaking had sex with her and freaking not Taylor.
Yeah, I never had sex with her. I just always wanted to. Because she's Louise, they're down to her freaking knees.
No, neither of you guys had freaking sex with her. And Sandy, you know who you had freaking sex with at that freaking party, and you know that it wasn't my freaking wife. And I'm just going to say, you're supposed to tell this freaking person before he freaking left, and you didn't freaking tell him.
I don't know what you're freaking talking about.
You know exactly what I'm freaking talking about, because we freaking talked about it when he wasn't freaking here.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Sandy had freaking sex with Mary.
For weakers and tweakers out there who want to try to help follow along with this freaking lie Doug is telling, he's getting caught in a freaking web of them. Geez Louise, down on my knees. Mary is the ex-girlfriend of freaking Taddea Risher, and Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas would never freaking have sex with freaking Mary because he had sex with freaking Doug's wife.
Yeah, but you didn't have sex.
Yeah, honestly,
it's great that we're finding out what a freaking liar you are just in the freaking nick of time, because you just freaking dished out the biggest freaking lie of all. We all know that who I actually had sex with was your freaking wife, and I would never freaking do that to this guy's freaking with this guy's. I would never freaking do what you're freaking claiming I freaking did.
Yeah, and honestly, Doug, Sandy, and I are best friends. How dare you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and they barely even know each other, so that's another strike on your freaking.
Strike three, Doug.
Strike three, you're freaking out. Okay, so does Doug Jr., your son, hate you? I'm going to go ahead and answer this one, yes. And do you stash your urine in freaking bottles in your garage? Another freaking yes, although I've never been able to freaking find freaking evidence of that. Doug, I think it's all out in the open now.
You.
I can't believe this is all coming out on the radio right now.
Yeah.
I can't freaking believe it. Yeah, I didn't freaking expect this was going to be the freaking episode where.
Yeah.
I didn't freaking expect this.
Doug Jordan's house of cards comes crumbling down.
Yeah. So let's keep going with the message.
You're a f***ing liar, Doug. I'm starting a petition for Doug to be removed from his status and from his position on this program. And as punishment, have him be demoted and have to work on The Sound of Tomorrow for 3 weeks.
What do you guys think about that?
I think, and this is just my freaking personal opinion, there's no freaking show without freaking Doug. There's no freaking, there's no freaking show without freaking Doug.
The thing about it, what this caller doesn't understand is that you got to have you got to have a guy who basically constantly is freaking messing everything up, who's just making huge mistakes and just making a fool of himself, basically a freaking gump, if you will, a guy who is constantly in trouble or constantly doing something that makes him look like an idiot publicly, and everybody freaking knows it and recognizes it but him. And if you don't have that, it's just not a freaking hilarious freaking show.
Before freaking Doug came along, we didn't freaking have that guy. So, freaking thank God for freaking Doug, because it takes a lot of freaking pressure off the rest of us. Because we're not the freaking gumps. The gump that he has, he's got the freaking gumption. He's freaking and I'm freaking drunk.
Thank you. Do not try to find me. You'll never know who I am. I'm Mr. X.
Well, geez Louise, down on my knees. Thank you, freaking Mr. X, so much for freaking calling. Your information has been invaluable to this freaking show. But we got a great freaking show for you. And Mr. X, if you want to join in our week's news and discussions, go ahead and call 513-914-6201. That's our week freaking hotline. Last week, famed Indian playwright and actor and director and rights activist Girish Karnad died, according to the Associated Press. He was 81 years old. Karnad worked in South Indian cinema and Bollywood and was a Rhodes Scholar in the 1960s. His family did not elaborate on the cause of death. I'll tell you the freaking cause of death, freaking old as freaking heck. 81-year-old man, old, and Sandy the Sandman Farkas. What was your favorite freaking movie that freaking Girish Karnad freaking directed?
Oh, jeez Louise. Well, I gotta tell you, what? I I mean, there are so many freaking things that freaking come to mind when I think of freaking Jerish. When I think of freaking Jerish Carnage, when I think about the freaking filmography alone of that freaking Jerish Carnage, when I think about freaking films that freaking Jerish Carnage freaking put his freaking stamp on. I mean, the list just goes freaking on and on. And how does one go about freaking selecting just one of Jerish of one of his freaking movies?
Yeah, man, that's true. I know that freaking Gary Carnage worked a lot with in the freaking Bollywood system, and some of those movies are freaking hilarious. My favorite one is the one where the guy's freaking, he's basically on a freaking motorcycle half the time. Turns out the motorcycle is a freaking rocket ship and he can fly.
Yeah, for tweakers and tweakers who don't freaking know, Bollywood is basically is freaking fat Indian freaking Hollywood. So you got a whole bunch of freaking hilarious comedies where, you know, something like I believe the freaking Sultan is coming to freaking dinner is a freaking hilarious one. Big Fat Sultan crashes a freaking family dinner, and he basically gets on top of the freaking table and he freaking falls asleep in the freaking buffet.
Yeah, that's freaking hilarious. He's a big fat.
I'm pretty sure that was a freaking Gary.
And and a lot of his movies revolve around freaking genies and magical freaking spells and characters with freaking golden earrings. Doug, what is your favorite Gary Carnage movie?
Yeah, I've never seen any of his movies, and I'm not a liar like the both of you. I'm making up that I've seen this guy's movies when I haven't freaking seen them. So, what would you like to say to his family in the wake of his death now that you have ignored his films and decided not to watch anything by him? I mean, I think it's better that I'm not lying about movies that he's seen and just making up some crap on the radio and talking about what he's doing.
You mean to tell me that you don't freaking believe that the freaking genie is coming to freaking dinner is a real freaking movie?
Well, you said it was the Sultan's coming to dinner, so now I don't know which one's which.
Doug, it's a freaking sequel, Doug. There's freaking two of them.
And if you want a freaking specific title, Doug, I'll go ahead and give you one. Junish Carnage, that movie, geez Louise, down on my knees. And also, Boondish, Avrindish, that one is about a guy with a lot of freaking arms and magical freaking powers. And he's basically using his arms for good and for freaking evil, if you know what I mean. And geez Louise, down on my knees, if he had as many freaking dangly Johnsons and he had freaking arms, he'd be playing with himself all freaking day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised freaking Sunjay and you haven't freaking sat down and watched one of freaking Jerry's Carnage Journey. Jeez Louise, how you freaking say that?
Yeah, Jerry.
I'm surprised the two of you haven't freaking sat on a freaking couch, freaking mutually freaking jacking each other off and watched one of these guys freaking movies.
Is that like something you and Taylor would do? You'd sit on a couch and freaking jack each other off and watch one of these movies?
Jeez Louise, freaking Doug.
No, you know, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this shit. Let's go do the next fucking news story.
All right. Last week, Chris Pratt married girlfriend Catherine Schwarzenegger at a star-studded wedding, according to Yahoo Lifestyle. The couple both called the wedding for the best day of our lives in near identical Instagram post after their nuptials. Since the post, some social media users have gone after Pratt for referring to his recent knot tying as the best day of his life because he had been married before and had a son with his first wife, Anna Faris. People also left negative comments for Schwarzenegger, who is the daughter of journalist Maria Shriver and freaking Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger. So, first of all, I didn't know freaking that Arnold Schwarzenegger had a freaking daughter, and I also didn't know he was that he had a daughter with freaking Terry Schiavo, which for weakers and tweakers out there who don't remember who she was in a freaking vegetative freaking state, a coma, for a very freaking long freaking time. It was a freaking hilarious ordeal because some people wouldn't let her freaking die. And Chris Pratt, I always call him freaking Chris Fat because he used to be freaking really freaking fat. He has lost some freaking weight. He plays in freaking dinosaurs, and he's also in the freaking Guardian of the freaking Galaxy, which I have not yet seen, but it's a freaking hilarious movie. Starring a freaking squirrel and also starring a big freaking tree, played by the freaking Rock Johnson.
Yep, those are all. Yep, you're 100% freaking right.
Yeah.
He's not married to Terry Schiavo. Terry Schiavo died some years ago. He's married to a journalist named Maria Shriver. So
No, Chris Pratt is married to him.
no, Chris Pratt's married to Catherine Schwarzenegger, who's the daughter of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
Well, then
Maria
who's
Shriver.
Terry Schiavo married to?
I'm pretty sure that she is no longer married to anybody because she's freaking dead.
That's a freaking shame.
I'm confused.
Okay, so here's another thing that I noticed when looking at this freaking copy here, is that Arnold Schwarzenegger had sex with his freaking maid, right? Everybody freaking knows it. He goes around and he's freaking shtipping the freaking maid. And geez Louise, down on my freaking knees, how do they know that freaking Catherine Schwarzenegger isn't also a freaking maid? And maybe if he's a freaking maid daughter. Made in a freaking America.
Well, the men usually don't have the baby. Usually it's the woman. So it would be Maria Shriver's daughter. I mean, she still, I think, is married to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Doug, you just said freaking Terry Schiavo's freaking daughter.
No, I said
Earlier you said that freaking Terry Schiavo's freaking dead. Now you're saying that she's freaking popping out freaking babies and that she's a freaking maid.
Yeah. Weakers, tweakers, I'm sorry to have this freaking all coming out on the air right now, but yeah, freaking Terry Schiavo, she's freaking back. Yeah, just like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, back from the dead. Just like the freaking when he plays the freaking Terminator 2000. Geez Louise, yeah, she's back too, and this time she's more machine than she is freaking a human being.
It's a good thing they didn't pull her feeding tube.
Yeah. Last week, a teenage driver in Canada who was pulled over for going 105 miles an hour blamed the traffic infraction on hot wings, according to Fox News. The 16-year-old was driving a Chevrolet Camaro when he was pulled over in Manitoba, Canada. He told police he had recently eaten spicy chicken wings and needed to find a freaking bathroom immediately. Authorities said he was fined $727 for speeding and more than $150 for driving without supervising driver. So this freaking kid need to get to a freaking toilet. I'm sure we've all been there. Freaking Taddea, Richard, when was the last time that you were in a freaking hurry and you needed to be somewhere?
It was actually fairly recently. I found out that my ex-girlfriend Mary was on a date with someone that she had recently met, and I was really kind of in a hurry to go pop that guy's tires so he couldn't meet her for the date.
What is the best way to prank a former lover's new freaking lover?
Popping tires is obviously a good idea. I also like to go ahead and break a couple of pipes in apartments and take out the batteries in a CO2 detector and just kind of, wait for him to fall asleep, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's very freaking smart. I'm so freaking proud of you. Yeah. Doug Jordan, what do you think of freaking Tadea's freaking hilarious freaking prank? And would you use it against perhaps someone who started freaking sleeping with freaking Sanjay? Down the line. I know I know I don't want to put that on the freaking table right now, but if that happened.
Yeah, I mean, but the tires you popped, were they a car or were they a golf cart?
Why does that matter?
He's alluding to the fact that Doug, just freaking drop it. Everyone knows you just try. Don't pay him any freaking mind. He's just, Doug, what are you freaking doing?
No, what's the end? Was it a car or was it a freaking golf cart? I'm just curious.
Doug, I don't know how they did things in Italy, but when you're on the radio in America, there are consequences to what you're saying, and you've just been kind of spouting things off without even thinking about it, and I need you to dial it back a little bit.
Also, it's basically my freaking golf cart by now. It's not freaking Sandy's anymore because I took over.
Also, whatever. Freaking forget it. It's just freaking, let's move on.
Okay.
In the mood.
Last week, a month-old wedding made headlines after photos of the two grooms dressed as Woody and Buzz from Toy Story went viral, according to Good Morning America. Garrett Smith and Jason Bittner of Illinois were married last month in a Disney-themed ceremony that saw the happy couple have their first dance together as husbands to the tune of You Got a Friend in Me. The extravagant event featured guests dressed in favorite Disney character garb and even included the couple's collection of Disney VHS at the themed reception tables. So there's so much freaking wrong with this freaking story. I don't even know where to begin. I guess I'll just freaking say it. And for weakers and tweakers, if I offend anybody, I'm freaking sorry. But freaking Toy Story is not originally a freaking Disney movie. Actually, it was Pixar. When it first came out in 1995, freaking Pixar was owned had not yet been sold to freaking Disney. So these two gentlemen, freaking their marriage is a freaking lie. But I'm pretty sure Woody and Buzz are freaking gay.
See, I always thought freaking Woody and Buzz definitely were freaking gay.
That's what I'm saying. They are gay.
Isn't that what the movie's about?
Yeah, but they're not gay with each other. That's the thing, freaking Taddea. Woody is freaking the freaking Slinky freaking dog, because he doesn't like to look at him in the freaking eyes, and he can put his freaking head underneath the bed, and he can freaking keep his rear end where Woody can freaking stick it to him, and then Buzz is freaking having sex with freaking Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah,
because he's full freaking. Because he just got a lot of freaking holes to freaking choose from.
Yeah, it's like a new freaking boyfriend every freaking time. Doug Jordan, you look like you wanted something. You look like you want to say something.
I just don't know why you're obsessed with cartoon characters having sex with each other.
Freaking hilarious. Last week, following a withdrawal from International Whaling Commission 30 years ago, Japan announced that they are poised to resume commercial whaling next month, according to the Telegraph. A fleet of 5 vessels are expected to set off from Abashiro Port in Kushiro, Hokkaido, northern Japan on... Why don't you just say freaking northern Japan? On July 1st, following a formal freaking ceremony. The ships are expected to continue whaling until autumn. So, for Weakers and Tweakers out there, I want to ask the panel, what does this mean for freaking Jonah freaking Hill? Is he in freaking danger? If Jonah Hill freaking charters a schooner, if he can find a freaking schooner that would fit him, maybe charter several schooners and lays atop all of them at once without getting in the way of the mast and without sinking the boat and killing the whole crew. And without flopping his giant freaking fin-like leg onto the freaking deck and destroying it just immediately, will he be caught? Will he be captured? And will the freaking Japanese freaking whale for him? Doug Jordan?
Yeah, he's not a whale. He's just a human being, and he's honestly not that fat. But, no matter if I say that or not, you guys aren't going to listen to me, so go ahead, do whatever you got to talk about.
Doug, let me interrupt you there, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Jonah Hill should stay away from the ocean at all possible. This is an emergency for Jonah Hill. Basically, if he's spotted anywhere in the Pacific Ocean and by a Japanese whaling vessel, they will go, "Oh my God, that's the biggest whale I've ever seen."
Yeah, that would be like finding freaking Herkimer's gold.
Moby freaking Dick.
Moby freaking Dick.
Moby freaking Dick is a good thing to compare to, since we are talking about Jonah Hill. And Moby Dick is a freaking big fat ugly freaking whale. Basically, what's going to happen is they're going to freaking see, if Jonah Hill is spotted in the freaking floating in the freaking water or sinking like a freaking stone, they're going to say, "Holy cow, that is the biggest freaking whale I've ever seen in my life. We have to freaking kill it." And they will freaking shoot to freaking kill, and that'll be the end of freaking Donut Hill. Jonah the Donut Hill.
Yeah. But here's the one question that I freaking want to ask, and it's this: for freaking Donut Hill, Japan no longer has a freaking offensive freaking army after the freaking end of World War II. So does Donut Hill have to freaking fear? Are they going to have a freaking big enough gun on a commercial freaking boat to actually sink the whale that is freaking Jonah Hill, Jonah the freaking whale?
I mean, you have to think that Japanese scientists will start developing one immediately once they spot them out in the ocean, because they'll catch a king's ransom with all the blubber if they catch them.
Yeah, I once heard it said that the blubber of Jonah freaking Hill could basically, if you thought freaking those oil lamps during Hanukkah that lasted for freaking 8 days, they would last for freaking 8,000 years.
Yeah.
It would never freaking go out. And they'd have blubber left over to eat.
The blubber of Jonah Hill, it said that you could freaking warm the freaking bodies of every single freaking Eskimo left in the freaking world if they were just to be able to find a way to freaking cultivate it and freaking shed it off his freaking body. No freaking Eskimos would be freaking cool anymore.
Is it possible that they could even find a way to cultivate his blubber, maybe through some sort of giant liposuction device, without even killing him, and he could just become a resource for?
It would break the freaking machine. can't freaking do it. They freaking tried. They freaking can't do it. Freaking break the machine.
Because that would be a freaking invaluable resource for the freaking United States of freaking America to have a big fat guy that just basically we would have all the energy we would need. He's like he is the size of the sun, and he has a plethora of basically what burns into freaking clean oil if you just refine it a little bit.
The blubber on this man alone is just a well of freaking natural resources, and we just need what we need to freaking do is build a machine that is able to freaking harness enough freaking power to freaking extract the freaking blubber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Last week, Burger King... this one's for Doug Jordan. Last week, Burger King in Brooklyn was caught replacing the recently added meatless Impossible Whopper with beef patties, according to the New York Post. Although the Impossible Burger was only available on BK menus in select cities, the Burger King at 376 Broadway in Williamsburg advertised the popular vegan option on its menu. After public outcry, the franchise has removed the item from its menu and stated that the mix-up was due to a technical error. Doug?
Well, yeah, they screwed up, so, I'm glad that they took it off the menu in time for people that don't eat meat not to get meat by accident.
Doug, let's take it to the freaking sports desk. What does this mean going forward for the freaking Impossible Whopper, and are people ever going to freaking be able to trust Burger King again?
It's a good move to start having a vegan option at a burger place like Burger King, I think. But they screwed up. So what I'm going to say is maybe not make it a replica of the Whopper, but maybe make it its own separate thing, so they don't have this mix up again.
Start a whole freaking new restaurant is what you're talking about.
No, I'm just like have a burger with specific toppings for the Impossible Burger, so they don't mix it up as a real Whopper.
Doug, how do you think financially it's a good freaking solution to just start a brand new freaking restaurant?
Yeah, I'm not saying they should start a new restaurant. I'm saying that it'd be good if they kept it on the menu.
Excuse me, Doug, that's enough. When you have a freaking restaurant that's as established as freaking Burger King is, it's a freaking tent pole, freaking fast food, freaking franchise. Why would you recommend to the powers that be to start a freaking brand new freaking restaurant over this?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not telling them to start a brand new restaurant over this. And honestly, if they wanted to start a brand new restaurant, that they have the money to do it. So why don't they freaking do it?
Freaking brick and mortar store. I get what you're saying. So if they did start a new restaurant, and Doug knows freaking best about this, what should they call it?
I said they shouldn't start a new restaurant, so I don't know.
Doug, do you think Kevin Durant should play the rest of the NBA series?
Why are you asking me these freaking questions? I have no idea who this freaking guy is or what he should play.
It's Sports Desk, Doug. It's the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't even get me started.
Okay. Last week, Kraft unveiled their latest attempt to get children to eat their vegetables with a new product known as salad frosting, according to the Huffington Post. Another freaking sports desk with Doug Jordan. The product, a rebottling of Kraft's classic ranch dressing in a frosting container, is intended to get kids excited about eating the munchy greens that the frosting is intended to go atop. HuffPost Life writer Caroline Bologna notes that ranch dressing isn't necessarily that much healthier than actual frosting. Pillsbury Creamy Supreme vanilla frosting has 140 calories and 5 grams of fat per 2 tablespoon serving, while Kraft's classic ranch dressing has 110 calories and 11 grams of fat for the same size serving. So, Doug, break this freaking down for us. What does this mean for freaking children everywhere looking to jump into a freaking, to dig their freaking greedy little mouths into a bowl of freaking green?
Yeah, I think it's honestly, to me it sounds freaking gross. I wouldn't put ranch frosting on or salad frosting on my vegetables before I ate them. I'd rather just put freaking ranch dressing.
So do you feel that Caroline Bologna is freaking way off on this, or?
Yeah, I think that she's definitely full of something, and I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Something full of what? Are you trying to say she's freaking full of baloney, or?
Well, that didn't come to mind, but now that you say that, I wish that's what I was thinking.
Now, Caroline Baloney, let's go take a deep dive on this. Taddea, you and I know basically everything there is to know about freaking Caroline Baloney as a freaking journalist. She has had her ups and freaking downs. She covered the war in freaking Vietnam. She covered the war in Iraq. She covered the war in freaking Afghanistan. Jeez Louise, down on my knees. Is this basically a blotch on the freaking record of freaking Caroline Baloney?
Yeah, Caroline Baloney, obviously one of the nation's most respected journalists, and for her to call out ranch dressing like this, I think is it's downright un-American of her. And I'm calling for the Huffington Post right now to suspend Caroline Baloney without pay for the next year.
Yeah.
Much like Doug Jordan, I believe Caroline Baloney is experiencing a wake-up call. I think she's experiencing a freaking wake-up call.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, either way, all's well that ends well. Last week, a 42-year-old woman's brain surgery for a malignant tumor made headlines when surgeons at Mount Sinai find no tumor at all, but a tapeworm instead, according to Fox News. Rachel Palma has been diagnosed with neurocytosis, cirrhosis, something, parasitic brain infection. Why don't they just say freaking parasitic brain infection caused by the jeez Louise, by a freaking tapeworm?
Jeez Louise.
According to the Post. According to the Mayo Clinic, tapeworms can be spread by people who have adult tapeworms and don't wash their hands properly after going to the freaking bathroom. Palma's symptoms prior to surgery included hallucinations, headaches, and confusions. So, I mean...
You guys should have seen the freaking look in Taylor's eyes the first time he heard the term freaking Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, geez Louise, down on my knees, and I've been trying to get them to send me that special freaking mail for a freaking long time. Now, this Rachel Palma, Doug Jordan, is there really anything to freaking worry about in terms of getting a tapeworm in your freaking brain?
Probably. You have a freaking worm in your brain. I would worry about that a lot.
I mean, I know I've experienced freaking hallucinations for quite a long freaking time, but I'm sure I don't have a freaking tapeworm in my freaking brain.
Well, I mean, do you wash your hands after you go to the bathroom?
No.
Oh, absolutely. Jeez Louise.
It sounds like you most definitely have a tapeworm in your brain.
I don't think I'm freaking ever. I don't know if I ever get confusion, but confusion. I don't ever get confusion. I don't ever get confusion. I don't ever get the confusion. Confucian says I don't ever get freaking. I do have. Confucian says I got freaking headaches and hallucinations. But so geez Louise, down on my knees. I do not freaking wash my freaking hands. But how would a freaking and maybe if they sent me that freaking Mayo Clinic, geez Louise, down on my knees, I'd have a freaking ball in there.
So you never wash your hands after you go to the bathroom ever?
Ever.
And all the times that we've had food together, had a plate of chicken wings, I have you over my house.
Yeah.
And
I love chicken wings.
Tray of dip, and you never wash your freaking hands after you go to the bathroom.
For weakers and tweakers out there, what Doug Jordan is freaking obviously pandering to the freaking audience about is that, yeah, you freaking guessed it, he is actually a great freaking host, and when he does have his freaking hilarious freaking barbecues and has me over for freaking chicken wing dip, yeah, he does a nice job, and the spread is always excellent. That's a freaking circle gets a freaking square, Doug. You do a good job.
Listen, Taylor, as the person closest to being a doctor on this panel, I did diagnose my own cancer. I hate to have this conversation with you right on the radio, but I think you got a tapeworm.
Are you saying I might have a freaking tapeworm in my freaking brain?
That's exactly what I'm saying, and I'm so sorry.
I mean, is that a freaking bad thing? It eat all the fat out of your freaking brain. I mean, if I got a freaking tapeworm in my brain, how fat would my freaking head be if I didn't have it there?
Probably whale size.
Yeah, I'd be the next freaking Jonah freaking Hill.
Yeah.
With that, so my head would at least be as big as Jonah freaking Hill.
So actually, congratulations then, and again, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Last week, Bradley Cooper and girlfriend Irina Shayk.
I think you're saying it right.
Irina Shengek ended their relationship after 4 years of dating, according to People. The couple's decision to end their relationship has led to speculation that Cooper began an affair with Lady Gaga, who recently called off an engagement to ex-fiancée Christina Cariano while the two were filming 2018's A Star Is Born. Both parties have denied the rumors. A representative for Cooper said the couple is working out custody of their daughter, Leah, who they welcomed in March 2017. I saw that freaking movie actually just recently. Star Is Freaking Born is freaking hilarious. Absolutely freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I saw it too. My favorite part is when freaking Bradley Cooper freaking kills himself at the end.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious. And he actually reminds me a lot of freaking Sandy. So, and when you're a bit homesick for your freaking best friend in the world, geez Louise, down my knees, everything except the freaking giving a shit about his freaking girlfriend, it reminded me just of freaking about Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got about a foot on me as well.
Yeah. He's about normal size human being, so.
Yeah.
But I always imagined that if we ever got a freaking award for this show, which I think by this point we're freaking due for, that Sandy would basically pull the same freaking thing on me and it'd be absolutely freaking hilarious. And he'd be freaking drunk. He'd be trying to freaking crawl up on freaking stage and he'd be freaking dizzy and falling freaking over. And yeah, I give it freaking 10 stars. It was a freaking hilarious movie. And then he hangs himself in his freaking garage. Spoiler alert. For Weakers and Tweakers out who haven't seen A Star Is Born, Bradley Cooper's freaking character freaking kills himself.
Yeah. Real quick, I'd like to throw out a little bit of a freaking spoiler alert. At the end of freaking, he freaking kills himself at the end of the freaking movie. He freaking ties a freaking noose around his neck and he freaking hangs himself in his own freaking garage. And the freaking character dies. And that's Bradley Cooper, 2018 freaking Star Is Born. If you haven't seen it, he freaking kills himself at the freaking end of the movie. And the movie's freaking hilarious. And he freaking pisses himself and he freaking kills himself.
Yeah.
Freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Reminds me of me. I don't know if you mentioned, it reminds me a lot of me, honestly. And that's how I see myself freaking going at some point also.
Weakers, we got time for one more freaking story left, and we're going to just jump right into it. Last week, a Florida man was charged with battery after an altercation with a roommate that stemmed from the man's refusal to flush the toilet, according to Miami Herald. Deputies were called after 58-year-old Diana Griffin and her Vero Beach roommate, 36-year-old Trayvon Jardin Patterson, spit on her after she had scolded him for not flushing the freaking toilet. Griffin explained that Patterson became irate and started cursing at her, at which point Griffin grabbed a nearby plunger and started swinging it at him. Patterson was found several blocks away and was arrested. At the time of the arrest, he claimed that he spit on Griffin only after she hit him with a cooking pot. Patterson has a history of battery. In 2018, he was arrested for spitting in the face of another roommate who confronted him over the messy freaking apartment. So this guy's freaking absolutely freaking hilarious. Mm-hmm. First of all, if I'm sure the Weakers and Tweakers out there know the old freaking adage, if it's freaking brown, don't bother flushing it freaking down. If it's yellow, let it freaking mellow, and somebody else will freaking take care of all of it. And also, here's another thing. If you freaking poop and you don't freaking pee, and pee-pee don't, and you don't end up freaking peeing, God freaking help you. You know what I mean? Doug Jordan, I bet you could freaking poop and not pee. You seem like a guy who could do it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I poop and I don't freaking pee. They're two separate things.
You freaking serious?
Yeah, sometimes I can just go take a poop. I don't freaking poop every time I pee. And I don't pee every time I freaking poop.
Well, obviously, because then you'd be freaking pooping on the freaking bathroom floor.
Sure.
But if you're sitting on a freaking toilet and you're freaking pushing, you might as well. I always instinctually freaking shove my freaking penis into the freaking toilet bowl, and I freaking poop while I freaking pee.
Yeah.
I freaking do both.
Yeah. Got to have your penis in the toilet bowl while your butthole's pooping out too, so that you don't pee.
Yeah,
I tried it once the other way. It didn't freaking work. Can't keep your penis outside of the bowl.
You gotta push your freaking penis down into the freaking bowl, and you gotta freaking pee, and you gotta freaking poop, and that's the only way to make sure that everything that needs to leave your freaking body leaves. It's freaking safe. It's on the bowl, and then you either freaking leave the bowl or you freaking flush the bowl. And that's freaking up to who's freaking going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Doug, what do you do with your penis if you're not peeing while you're pooping?
Yeah. You keep it in the bowl or?
I mean, it naturally just goes into the bowl because that's how freaking gravity works.
You're playing with yourself or what?
Well, also, Taylor, don't you wear freaking diapers?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Doug?
But basically, when you got to clean a freaking poopy diaper, when there's so much that sometimes then you sit down to freaking clean over. I still clean over a freaking toilet, basically, because I don't have a freaking girlfriend that I could lay on a freaking table that would freaking lift my freaking legs up into the air and put my buttocks into the air and then freaking wipe me with a freaking wet wipe the way I deserve to be as a good freaking boy. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers. This has been another episode of freaking Our Week in Review. I am freaking Taylor, the freaking Sandman, freaking Loftme. With me has been Doug Jordan to my left, freaking all the way from Seattle, freaking Washington. We got freaking Sandy the Sandman Farkas and Taddea freaking Risher from freaking a new sex dungeon. Actually, it's freaking YMC freaking A, and he's freaking having hot gay sex with freaking old men. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers. Thanks so much for freaking listening. You can find us as always on iTunes, SoundCloud, freaking YouTube, Spotify, and freaking Google Play. And geez Louise, we can't wait to see you freaking next week. Were you lying about being able to freaking pee out of your? Was that another one of your freaking lies about being able to pee when you freaking poop?
No, I don't always freaking pee when I take a poop.
Guys, I gotta freaking take off.